Hello. Hello,
Hi.
hello. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Yeah,
Harvey.
on loud and clear.
Hey, good. What's going on today, everybody? There's Andrew popping in. Cool. Can everybody see everybody and hear everyone? Awesome. We got somebody else coming in, Mark Jones. Just give it 1 minute. Since we have some new faces today, I definitely want you guys to introduce yourselves, Andrew and Michelle. We can kind of go around too. While we wait for Mark to come in and just everybody meet each other. Mark, I see you're in. I just can't see your video or audio. So whenever you get a chance, come on in. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We do these speaker meetings every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So thanks for coming today. Harvey has been with me since the beginning. And other people come in all the time, so this is great. Harvey, how are you doing today? Let's start with you, my friend. Everything going okay for you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I just got off a call with. I'm blessed. I was invited to be part of CES, so I'll be speaking at CES in a couple of weeks. And we were just talking about the questions, and we have 40 minutes. And for the first time, I'm actually a little nervous. Usually, I don't get nervous, but this will be a lot of fun because it's on my bucket list. I've always wanted to go to CES.
Congratulations. That was going to be the second part of what we did was celebrating our wins. So you actually did a twofer.
There you go. Efficiency.
Great. Mark, how's it going, Mark Jones? Hopefully you can. I think you could be, I think you're on. There you go.
Trying to see. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Everything's great. Everything's good. It's good to just get back into the rhythm of things. Recently moved, so now that's over with, and now it's just getting back to things as usual.
Good. Well, I got your defining moment story this morning, so I'll put that together and put that on YouTube today. It was triggering. Oh my gosh, the tears. I was holding the tears back. It was very beautiful story. So thank you for sharing that. I can't wait to show that to my audience and tell everybody about your story. We're also doing celebrating wins. Do you have any wins you'd like to share in addition to, of course, introducing yourself too? Tell everybody about your TEDx talk that recently published. You too, Harvey.
Yes. Oh, I did have a TEDx talk. Was back in April of this year, and it was my first time speaking, doing a TEDx talk, but also it was one of the bigger venues I've had before, and trying to really just get my feet wet and speaking. It was an honor, it was a privilege. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be, but I mean, I would love more opportunities, such as that one. But it was definitely, it was an honor and a privilege, and I would just want to speak a whole lot more now. So that just lit a fire under me.
Oh, that's great. I put your Harvey, could you put your TEDx talk in the link just so everybody can watch your talk and
Oh
um,
yeah.
also put your
Therapy has always been such a scary idea.
I also use these opportunities as well to connect. So put your LinkedIn URLs in the chat. Let's always make sure we connect with people. So you're ready to speak some more. Is that right, Mark?
Yes,
Good.
absolutely.
Good. Awesome. Well, yeah, I want to go around and meet everybody. So, Andrew, you are the next square. I just kind of try to go in order if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. No, hi, everybody. Hi. Uh, Good to be here. Um, it's early for me, tell me what's the format we're sharing wins.
Yeah, a little bit of background about you, what you do, and then any wins that you have. I always like to start off with high notes.
Sure. Uh, so I'm a speaker and a writer. I speak about organization and time management. Media calls me the most organized man in America. I just got, um, uh, we just got the new copy of this is the second edition of this book, which is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. So I'm excited that this is now available for pre-order. It drops in January officially, but I can actually now hold a copy of it in my hand, which is pretty groovy. And
Definitely put your link in the chat if it's for pre-order. We'll check it out.
sure, I'll find that for you. I'll do that when I'm done talking. I'll go find it on Amazon and drop it in there. Um, yeah. We're just so we're I I do corporate training, public speaking. I speak at conferences and trade shows. Um, I uh, I just I've been out on tour with this book, so I just was in Palm Springs yesterday,
Mhm.
um, doing an event, and we also run our own programs. So I got a 10-week program called the Unstuff Your Life System. We're bringing a new program, a certified coaching slash organizer program that we're bringing to the marketplace in January that has been in development for quite some time, but we're finally launching it. And I've pitched it for the first time a couple of nights ago, and we've already had several people sign up, which is great. And we'll pitch it again in January. I mean, there's lots that I could tell you all. I mean, as we get to know each other. But this is I speak full time. I mean, that's what I speak and teach and write full time. I mean, that's what I do. So, and I've been doing it for a long time.
Well, you're in good company. We're all a bunch of serial entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors, so that's wonderful. And you and I met through email. Is that correct, Andrew? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you reached out to me, and here I
Yeah,
am.
awesome, wonderful. Thanks for coming. So Marcus, the other, not Mark Jones, but the other Marcus. I've got two. Hi, Marcus. Oh, you're on mute, sir.
That's why I put the US on the end, eh? So people don't get confused there.
That's right.
That's my parents' fault. I'm not going to take I'm not going to take the blame for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, nice meeting you. I think we got linked up via LinkedIn, if I can remember correctly. I'm a writer and I'm what we call a leadership psychologist. So I'm
ooh.
actually doing all kinds of things with how to lead better, and I write books and I give trainings, and that's really what I do most of the time. Talking, yes, on webinars, on podcasts, and that kind of thing. But I think one day what I would really like to do is a TED talk or a TEDx talk. That seems like really cool to me. So I'll drop some links also in the chat, just like everybody else is doing. Um,
And I love your accent, Marcus. Where are you joining us from the world?
oh, yes, yes. And most people cannot determine what my accent is, which is strange because I'm from South Africa and South Africans have a very distinct accent.
That's Harvey's dream accent that he says he wishes he had.
Well,
Maybe that's an inside joke. I shouldn't tell all his secrets.
well, I've lived in several countries, yeah, across our globe. So at the moment, I'm living in Spain.
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful. Well, very cool. Michelle, I've got you in the next square there.
Good morning. I am Michelle. I am calling in from Wisconsin. I own Von Rooting Coaching and Consulting, where leaders are developed. I work with individuals and corporations who take vested interest in developing their staff and themselves. My goal for 2025 is to get on more paid stages. I did between trainings and breakout rooms, I did over 50 speaking engagements this year. Like to see more of them paid. And really going to focus on the coaching, maybe a little less on the corporate training, but I'll take those opportunities as they come my way. And then also trying to get started on my book. So
Ooh, what's the book going to be about? Let me guess, leadership.
it's, yes. How'd you know? Really, it's all the things that I wish I would have known when I first started out the door, like when I first had my first job, right? So I went into the world with, I'm here to do a job, not to make friends. Guess how far that gets you, right? And so, but all the things that if you knew now when you started, how much better that would be. And so, really, just kind of like an intro with all the trade secrets.
Love that. Yeah, oh my gosh, I resonate so much with that because when I was in college, I said the same thing. I'm just here to get a degree. I'm not here to make friends. And then I think I said that throughout my career. And you're right, it didn't get me very far. So now I'm at the season of my life where I'm here to make friends, right?
Mhm.
And grow together and be a collective.
Yep.
Lori. You are on mute, but for Marcus with a KUS, who's in South Africa slash Spain, you're surrounded by TEDx people right now. So you're in good company, my friend. And Lori is one of them. She's actually done 2 TEDx talks.
Yes, and I was on a focus block so that's what I was doing is my voice exercise, writing notes, and schedule. My name is Lori Sagawa, and the reason I'm called the Samurai Strategist, and the reason I'm called that is because as a traumatic brain injury survivor, I I was reading a 7th grade level, chronic pain, and I started researching about my background and found out that I am samurai on my father's side of the family. And so when I found that out, I just thought that's really who I am. So I'm known as a samurai strategist, and I teach about ikigai, knowing your purpose in life, the code of Bushido, the moral code of the samurai, which includes courage, integrity, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. And then at the end is gambaru, which is never give up. So if a person takes all these trainings, they will become an awesome person and someone that can be helpful not only to their families, but also in the business world, because we all resonate with good morals and they never go out of style. So that's what I do. I love speaking. I do a lot. I do storytelling, speaking, writing, and coaching, but I think I do know that speaking is what I like. And my goal is to be enrichments. I keep forgetting that. Enrichment speaker on cruises, especially in Japan. 2026, there are 2 cruises going from Tokyo around the islands to Tokyo on the Ritz-Carlton. And this is their first one of Japan. So that is my 26th goal. But next year, I'm going to be applying for enrichment speakers in the United, well, other goals. I mean, other cruises, but Ritz-Carlton is like way up there.
I can't wait to see that.
I
Just
know.
surrounded by gold and the Ritz-Carlton theme. That's going to be so amazing.
Yes.
Well, cool. So a lot of you came because you're, into speaking, you're writing books, thought leadership, and you want to grow your brands, get on more stages, become that global thought leader. And everybody here is well on their way to it. And I promised the folks that came that I would help you get started on your journeys. So it is so convenient that we are having this conversation today because I just got off of a podcast this morning with a director of at Salesforce. So a lot of people know that company, huge company, right? He's a director and he has a podcast and it's all about leadership and coaching. So this is perfect for you guys because he gave me his calendar link and said I could share it with this group today. So quite a treat. Yeah, everybody's happy. His name is David Fung. He is requesting that just have like a quick little meet and greet with him, which is only about 15 minutes, just to explore synergies and topics for his show. But there is his calendar link, and I will go ahead and also send you his LinkedIn so you can connect with him. So his LinkedIn and his calendar link. And then once you book an appointment with him, um, he will give you the link for his podcast. Is podcasting goals for most of us? Is it something else? Is it visibility? Obviously, we talked about being on stage. Some of us have TEDx goals. But in general, is podcast something that you guys are really interested in and want more of?
Yes.
Lori says yes. Anybody else?
Sure. I mean, I'll talk anytime somebody wants me to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Podcast also. TEDx is eventually my goal.
all right. So, I've just recently helped a couple people do TEDx. And I want to talk about that since you did bring it up. Is TEDx a goal for anybody else? Obviously, Mark, Lori, me, and Harvey have done TEDx. Is it a goal for you as well, Andrew?
I've done one. I would do another
Oh,
one.
you would do another one? Well, we are surrounded by TEDx people. That's great. So Harvey and Mark with a Q did their TEDx talks this year. Mark with a Q, I like that. And mine was earlier this year as well. And then recently I helped one person. She actually had to turn down two TEDx talks. She got accepted into three, which is amazing. Um, Three in 78 days.
Wow.
Crazy. Yes, she got accepted into three in 78 days. Obviously, she had to turn down two. And then I'm in the process of getting somebody else crossed on that finish line this week, hopefully. So TEDx is great because Harvey knows, right? It goes on YouTube and it helps us become searchable, so that when somebody decides to do business with us, what are the first things they do? They look us up online, they Google us. So TEDx is a real advantage because it's on YouTube, which is the world's second largest search engine. And if you have a book, right, like Andrew does and most of us do, it does help that, that brand of the book grow and continue to, be spread throughout the world and that kind of thing. Any specific questions that we can answer for you, Marcus with a K? You've got a power mastermind here. You're surrounded by people that are willing to help you.
Well, basically, my questions are quite simple. Is how do I find a platform where I can come and tell my story? So where to find the event? That's really what I don't know.
What
I've got stories aplenty, so that's not a problem.
stories of plenty? I know, right? I feel like we all tell stories of plenty, that's for sure. Is there a specific story that, like, if you could pick one thing and say, that's it, that's the one thing I want to talk about, or the one thing that I have as a knowledge base that can really help transform the lives of others? Do you have like one or two
Oh,
things, maybe?
it's difficult to really pin it down to one subject, but what it boils down to is I believe that leadership has such a huge impact on the people on of this planet. So how people are led has such a huge impact on their lives that if we can do that just a little bit better, I believe we're going to make a huge difference. And I've, what I've learned in my studies and in my experience and all that. It's a technique of listening, which I've dubbed observational listening. And that's going a step beyond the good old active listening skills. And I believe that is the essential tool that leaders need in order to be able to get and a better relationship with their employees and better performance out of their employees at the same time. So I believe it's not only good from a moral sense of view, but it's also good for your business case.
Yes, you're speaking my language. I have a interview coming up next month, and I'm going to be talking about leadership, TV interview. So it's really important. And Harvey, he's one of the top global experts in AI, by the way.
Mhm.
What his, and of course, Harvey, feel free to elaborate, but he's so passionate about integrating the human with AI, right? Because we're always going to need that human element going forward. And I feel like even, as tech evolves and as AI evolves and it's exponential, that we're going to crave that human connection even more so. Harvey, I would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, two things I want to say. Number one, my big thing is it's all about human plus AI working together will give you better results than just a human or just the AI.
Mhm.
Agreed.
I really think the more you take that in, the more
Mhm.
you'll take things to the second level. And then I actually went blank on my second point. I had a really good point, but I just went blank.
The second point is you need AI to remind you of the first point.
Yeah. Gosh, what was it? I had a really good driving point. I was like, oh, let me throw that in. Anyway, I'm sure when we talk,
It will
it'll.
come. It will come.
It'll pop in anytime. Pop in anytime. But I
It's
It's
recognizable.
so important, right? And I feel like, even though we're more connected than ever as a world, right? We have these things that keep us super connected. We feel lonelier than ever, right?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if you've ever seen the.
The
Go
old
ahead,
man
Harvey.
starting to kick in. So sorry, or maybe the caffeine's helping. The second point is, it is really important that you guys are here today. Tara and I have briefly talked about it. We truly think the future will be in speaking. In the fast forward, we will see robots, we will see technology, people will be losing jobs left and right. And I think it'll make a full circle. People will want to see a human. People will want that one on one connection, that
Mhm.
power of conversation. And you guys are in the best place. So, my advice is improve your skills, be in a community like this, have a leader like Tara that's going to help you because this is not going away. If anything, my vision is that it'll be a higher demand as years come.
Yes, I like that personally. Well, thank you, Harvey. That was very kind of you. I appreciate that. Those communication skills are so important. The Carnegie Institute of Technology has a famous quote. I love it. It says that 85% of our financial success is due to three factors: our ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. Shockingly, only 15% of our financial success in a lifetime is due to technical knowledge. And this is important because it's all about going back to those basics and how can we improve our communication skills so that we are effective leaders, so that we can negotiate, so that we can, inspire and transform other people through our words. I think that is so important. And, it just coincides with, the brand of being a speaker is that really transformational communicator, somebody that can really go into the minds and the hearts of the audience and inspire that change is so key. I would love to hear Mark. I can see the wheels turning. I would love to hear your MARQ, pardon me, with a Q. Anything to add, sir?
I just think that as people learn more about themselves and they find more information out, because I mean that's this informational age is it can be overwhelming, but the thing is they want to find someone that they can trust and they can connect with and they can relate to, and I think about my technological experiences and how I've went through T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, Verizon. I worked at all the carriers, and then, I believe I was connecting, people to the world by getting them the devices. But the thing that we kind of, I feel like, as a society missed out on was using it to elevate our lives as far as trying to connect with one another and instead of just using the technology to just make things more convenient. I do like convenience, but at the same token, having a family and I'm like, okay, I have to learn how to connect with my children instead of giving them a tablet or giving them something that just can keep them quiet. But I mean, it's so many things that is now I think about a technology device that can help you retain information. So many things that I have ideas that we can utilize technology to help us become better human beings. And even as you're speaking, I'm just having all these ideas, and I want to just even come up with some sort of device I can even take notes. I mean, obviously you can type, but I just think about like just different levels of technology. I mean, I
Yeah.
was listening to someone talk about Elon Musk this morning, how his mind just operates at such a whole different dynamic than what we can even understand. And it's just one of those things where, okay, well, how can you uh sync are the best way of break down the best way of being ourselves into a format where it could be replicated and we could just become our best versions. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot. So man,
Yeah, I love that. I
that's
love
just
that.
so much.
And that's why we get together and, talk about these things as a community. It's really hard to go alone. I think anybody can relate to that, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and it's so much easier when you have a collective, supporting you and helping you with those things. And, when you pair this collective, these relationships that we build, on a basis of authenticity and communication, like what you said, Mark, and then you pair it with this tech, it's amazing that we can, even though we're in different areas of the world, we can still come together, have this amazing conversation and uplift each other. Um, so I love that, love where this is going, absolutely. I would also like anybody to pick my brain on branding if you have any branding questions. So, a little bit of background. I also own a branding and marketing agency, and that's kind of how I got started in entrepreneurship. And then it was kind of my transition as a person to speaking and writing books that, now I've became a speaker and help other speakers do the same and, that type of thing. So if anybody has any branding, marketing questions to help grow their speaking careers or business, now's a great time. So I will just throw that out there. Anybody, marketing, we could talk about marketing access, websites, speaker stuff, anything.
I'll jump in.
Yeah, sure.
I am trying to get my YouTube channel going a little better. So
Yeah.
I figure any suggestions, any tips that you saw
Yes.
for me.
Oh my gosh. The key is, I feel like you cannot do it yourself. It takes its own specialist, really. So I actually had to hire somebody this year because even though I had SEO, I had descriptions, my titles were really, pretty good. I still had to hire somebody else to help me see the holes that I could not fill. One of the tools that I do use is vidIQ. Do you use vidIQ, Harvey? Or have you heard of it?
No, I'm writing it down. vidIQ.
vidIQ. So vidIQ helps because it is plugged in with YouTube. When you use vidIQ, and let's say you're uploading a video to your YouTube channel, it will, and let's just say you put a title in there. It will tell you a score before you hit submit of the likeliness of that YouTube title actually catching. So, for example, when I first started using it, I thought I had a really good YouTube title, right? We all do. And it gave me a score out of a 50. So I realized that it wasn't catching, right? So good YouTube titles are YouTube titles that have a keyword in the title, but also have a hook or a contrary kind of statement, which is another popular one to get a lot of views. So use vidIQ because it'll actually give you title suggestions and scores and give you a live kind of feed on it. And I think you can also use it to give you a score of your actual full video as well. So that will help because the higher your score, 0 to 100, the more reach you'll get, and it'll push it out to a wider audience.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. vidIQ, it's super cheap too. I think it's like $5 a month. Totally worth it. There's no way I could do this without vidIQ.
Nice.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Marketing, branding
Could you
questions?
put that in the chat too, also?
Let me see if I can find the URL. And Mark with a K. Um, YouTube is going to be important if you are deciding to do TEDx
Mhm.
eventually, because TEDx is on YouTube. So one of
Yes, I do have a YouTube
oh, you
channel,
do.
and
Good, good.
I also have someone also who is busy doing the SEO for me on that. Just as you say, it's too complex and too specialistic to also have this in your own pocket, to put it that way.
Yes.
And it's not, I mean, I don't pay him a hell of a lot. I think I pay him something like $250 a month. and whatever I upload, he fixes it for me.
Ooh,
It's
can
nice,
you share
right?
his contact? Because I've been getting hit up with people like that, and that'd be nice to have someone else to kind of compare price.
Hmm? I can drop his name if you want,
Yeah,
and you can see what you can just see whether he works for you or not.
Yeah.
yeah.
What does this gentleman do for you? Does he clean up your videos, do the descriptions, the SEO, and everything?
He doesn't do anything on the video content itself. That I do myself. I also do my own subtitles, so my own SRT files and all those kind of things that I all do myself. He just works literally on the description and the characteristics and the keywords and things like that.
Awesome. That's great. How are you happy with the growth of your channel?
It's starting to I've only really started with the channel actively with the channel maybe 2 3 months, so it's beginning stages.
That's good. Well, I mean, we all start somewhere, right? That's
Right.
awesome. Michelle, what about you? Any YouTube questions or social media questions? I'm not as great on YouTube as I am on LinkedIn. So if anybody has any specific LinkedIn questions, I'd also be happy to field those for you.
Yeah, I think my biggest question is, my company name talks about coaching and consulting. It doesn't talk about speaking, and it's kind of too late for that. So I've kind of created this tagline and like where leaders are developed. I'm just wondering if there's a way I can incorporate speaking in there somehow without changing everything because I'm finally getting that recognition just by my logo alone. And you don't want to change that as you're starting to build. So, because I'm going into my second year full time doing this.
Congratulations first. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Your business brand is separate from your personal brand, right? So I would suggest if you were getting into speaking, you're really serious about kind of launching that, have a personal website as well that showcases this. And you can have a speaking page on your business website. That's fine as well. But really, when an event planner or organizer goes to hire you, they're probably going to go to a personal website of yours as well. So I have a business page. We have a list of branding and marketing services, but nobody goes there to hire me as a speaker. But people go there that are speakers or authors or entrepreneurs, and they hire me for branding or marketing services. But an event organizer or meeting planner, I want to direct them to my personal website that showcases all of the stuff that I've done for speaking. So I've got my speaker reel, speaking pictures, testimonials, those kinds of things, my podcast. And it's one of those things you just keep growing all of the time. You don't start off with all of these assets, right? But you just keep growing onto it, as you go. So I would ask you, do you have things like written testimonials, either from organizers, meeting planners, or audience members, pictures, video, that kind of stuff to kind of build this out? Do you have some of those things?
Yeah, I've started using that and collecting that through Talkadot. And then also, the last few events that I've done, I've had friends in the room that have just been videoing, but it's cell phone, but it's, my theory is it's better than nothing.
It is?
So,
Good. I'm glad. That's a start, right?
yeah.
Um, mhm.
I was gonna say, my other question is, how important is a speaker one sheet? I think that's what people have told me they use. And then where do I find a good one to inspire me?
Ooh, I like that question. So, a speaker one sheet is, I talk about this all the time. It's like a menu, right? So, Harvey and Lori are going to be tired of me talking about this. Sorry, guys. But imagine going to a restaurant and they don't give you a menu, and you have to memorize all of the things that they tell you when you get there. It's not very engaging, and it probably would lead you to buying less, I would assume, right? You might just get the one entree you remember instead of the dessert too.
Mhm.
You want them to buy your entree and dessert, don't you?
Right.
So the menu, the speaker one sheet is a quick one, it's one sheet. It's one sheet and it tells a little bit about you and the topics that you speak on. This is important because that ultimately you could send that to somebody who hires speakers for events or podcasts that you want to be on. You don't have to necessarily have a separate podcast sheet and a separate speaking sheet. They can just be one sheet that you give to somebody because podcasting is speaking. And that helps them identify that you are, number one, a good guest for them, right? As somebody who's a podcast host, my number one thing I want to know is alignment. Is this person aligned with the theme of my show? I don't want to have to fit my show around somebody else. That's a lot of work.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure there's alignment, and those speaking topics really help. The second part of that is they see that you got your stuff together and it's organized. So that kind of goes back to Andrew. And the organization is so important. It's your first, it's somebody's first perception, right, of your brand. So it shows that you know, one, what you're coming at somebody with. This is what I do. This is my lane and sandbox. And it's just in a nicely presented form. So let me see if I can get Lori's. Because I really liked Lori's speaker sheet. And Lori, I might have to get you to.
I get it.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Josh is on it. Josh is going to share the speaker sheet of Lori's. Mark Jones, you're raising your hand. Mark with a Q. What's going on?
Yeah, so it's mainly growing a YouTube channel or growing online presence. 2021, my wife and I started podcasting, and we were trying to talk about things that people would deal with on a regular basis, whether if it's spiritual things, growing spiritually, how to raise kids, and really just things that we know for a fact that a lot of people kind of struggle through in life. Now we haven't gained traction. I'm starting to see that a lot of people, I mean, even from this, is adding so much value now. Sharing the LinkedIn information and how people leverage technology and leverage these resources to, I guess, get better analytics. But it's very discouraging if you just because you think that you would be able to talk about a subject matter that you know that someone would like to hear about, and then you would name that subject matter. You put your hashtags in, and then you would think that you will probably reach a lot of people that's dealing with some of those similar issues or would like to hear a dialogue on it. But from what my experience is a lot much more in depth than that, and not really having the awareness of everything that you guys are talking about, I gotten discouraged. You get very discouraged and you just saying, you know what, I'm not gonna talk about this thing. But even that, you kind of just think about, okay, well, what else can I talk about? What else can how can I add value? What other areas I can add value that will allow me to gain traction, to gain an audience, to, be able to provide anything that someone could use. And I guess my two questions would be, what would be the quickest way, I guess, to gain a following if you have like a niche type of subject matter, something that I guess some people want to talk about, some people don't want to talk about. But even I guess my second question is, how vulnerable should you be? Because I know that was one of my things that I came out of is getting taken advantage of, because I do believe that when people be vulnerable and they just pretty much let everyone know their struggles, sometimes people relate and people it help people, but I also feel like sometimes people will leverage that and weaponize it against you and try to destroy your platform, your character, and things like that. So I guess really, how would you navigate, I guess, those two situations?
I love that question. I'm all about vulnerability, as you know, right? So for me, it was a strength. And you're not gonna win the minds and hearts of everybody. You could have the best possible message. I could come here and say, I'm going to deliver world peace. There's going to be somebody out there that's gonna despise that message, even if
Yeah.
it's the best possible message, right? So I think that's important. Not everybody's going to be your friend. Not everybody's going to be your audience. And that's okay, right? What matters is you're sharing your truth and that it benefits somebody else. Because when you share your story, it's not comfortable. You know that. You've been through that. I've been through that. It's hard and it takes a lot of a lot of freaking courage. It just does. But when you show up and you're willing to share and you have vulnerability, you are seen for the people that need to hear your
Yeah.
message. You're seen as their leader.
Yeah.
Focus on them and don't focus on the rest, because otherwise you'll spend your life thinking that you're a failure because your message isn't resonating, but really it's only not resonating with the people that you don't want to attract anyway.
Right. That makes sense.
So I would say that, and then to get your message out to a wider audience, find out exactly what that niche message is. So if you're kind of talking about, faith and leadership a lot, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing. What groups could you join? Either online or in person, what groups that would resonate with that message? So if it's a faith-based group, there's tons of them, and I can actually introduce you to the one I'm in that would resonate with your message. And then you go into a group that's already has members. They're already aligned and they're already receptive to what you're going to say. And then you borrow their audience.
Makes sense.
So much easier, right? Than trying to find these
Just
people
build.
individually. Just go to a group that already exists. So much better.
Yes.
Um, Anybody have anything that they would like to share advice for Mark on that? And if not, that's okay, but chime in, feel free. Anybody? No? Back to the speaker one sheet. Any questions there? I think Josh put in, and let me introduce Josh, by the way. That's my husband. He's the guy that does it all. He's a brand designer of 20 plus years. So he's responsible for everything, uh, all of my success. I couldn't have done it without Josh. He's humble, of course. But any questions about speaker one sheet, marketing in general? The speaker one sheet is kind of where we start. Then there's other things that we need as a speaker, your press kit, celebrity speaker sheet, and all these things. Questions, Michelle? Anybody else? I thought I heard somebody talk. No.
I was just gonna say what all is included in that press kit.
Press kit, similar to your one sheet. So your one sheet is a condensed menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
The press kit is not condensed. It's like going to Cheesecake Factory and you have 75 pages. You don't have 75 pages, but you know what I mean. It's
It
a
feels
more
like it.
it's a more in-depth look, right? So it would have your speaking titles and topics and descriptions and audience takeaways.
Okay.
And again, this shows somebody else that you have your stuff together, right? So I typically recommend we have about 4 topics that you can pick from. And that's good, right? Because if you go to a meeting organizer or a meeting planner and they say, you know what, we have emotional intelligence covered, we're good. Well, you say, oh, that's fantastic. I also speak on dot, dot, dot. If you don't have those things in line, it'll lead to a missed opportunity. So it's important to let somebody know up front, these are things I also talk about, right? Again, related to leadership in some kind of capacity for you. That would make sense. Anybody else? Good questions today. I'm loving this. This is a great group.
I dropped my speaker kit in the chat as well.
Wonderful. Um, I recently redid mine. I have a little bit of work to do on it to finish it up, but Josh, if you wouldn't mind dropping the new speaker kit in the chat, just so everybody can look at it. I incorporated some actually embedded videos into mine as well, just to make it a little bit more interactive. So there's so many ways to skin a cat, as it were. There's not a particular right way. It's just you want to make sure you have your speaking titles, topics, descriptions, takeaways. That's really important. Ultimately, what is the meeting planner organizer looking for? They want to know what you are delivering and what benefit the audience has by hiring you. And until you know that, you don't really know the pain points of the audience. So how can you deliver an impeccable transformative speech, right? Anybody else? These are such great questions. And I will drop in another podcast link for you guys as well. Since most of us are leadership focused people today, my friend Edward has also given me permission to share his calendar. So he is a transformational leadership speaker, author, entrepreneur, and he was a former Marine uh, in the military there, and he was in combat, so he has seen leadership on a different level than most of us even know. And he overcame PTSD and loss of his wife, all of these
Mm.
devastating things. He's seen his best friends die on the battlefield, and he came from that background. I always say he came from the battlefield to the boardroom. So now he works with CEOs, high-level leaders, executive leaders, high-level entrepreneurs to take their leadership to the next level. And everything he does is built on leadership at the highest level of service and, of course, resilience. So if that resonates with you, feel free to book with Edward. And I also dropped his LinkedIn on the chat. But the best way to speak and to get paid to speak is by speaking a lot. So podcasts are great because you can do this from your home, you can do this virtually, you can do this from anywhere. And we never know who's going to hear our message and want to hire us after that, right? One thing leads to another. That's how I got started in speaking, was podcasting. I spoke on podcasts for about 4 months before I was invited to my first keynote. You know how it is. You get hooked. Mark with Q knows. So you just get hooked and then you just keep doing it. And that enabled me to then start my podcast. And Harvey's similar. Harvey wasn't always a speaker, right? He was an emergency physician, emergency room physician, who then became an author and speaker, right? Harvey, is that your kind of trajectory?
That's my mo.
I love it though. We kind of fall into it and discover we love it. So podcasting is a huge part of that, and it's great for visibility, SEO. Again, when somebody decides to hire us, they look us up on Google. So if you appear in a lot of really great podcasts on the subject you're speaking about, it makes sense in that person's mind why they should hire you. And that's typically a great customer journey, right? They look us up on Google, do some research, look at our website, look at our speaker page, look at the digital assets we have. Maybe it's a speaker reel, pictures, etc., testimonials, and then decide to hire us. So right now, anybody could be searched right now. And the powerful aspect of where brand comes in this is your brand strong enough for them to make the distinction in their mind that they should hire you based on what they see online. So key because we never know when we're going to have a missed opportunity, right? So I encourage everybody to examine their brands and turn to me as a resource. If you have a question, if there's something that you're not sure about, I offer complimentary branding audits. Happy to do it. I want you guys to succeed. So if there's anything I can do to make that happen and facilitate that, let me know. I gave Harvey a branding audit. Harvey, how was your experience with your branding audit with me?
It was great. I popped some Xanax afterwards, and then I was good. No, but seriously, you guys were awesome. It was very thorough, very consistent. And my favorite phrase for the year is, "We don't know what we don't know." So having someone come in and say, "Hey, Harvey, X, Y is good, but X, Y is also need to work on." So that was fun and great. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Perfect. Before we wrap up today, anything else? Anything else? Any last questions? Need help with anything? Anything resonating here? Anybody? Lori. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to kind of make a comment and ask a question. We talked about vulnerability, and I was told to find the most difficult part of my whole life and put it out there. And when you can say it without going into tears, then that's when it becomes more powerful.
Yeah. I love that. And there's
Do
nothing to
you want
share.
to hear mine?
Yes, sure. Please
Okay.
share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. When I was 9, Joe Willis tripped me, punched me in the gut, and said, "You're a fat, ugly Jap." And after that, I didn't want anything to do with my heritage.
How
I
time.
couldn't say that before the time I was taking this training. I couldn't say it without crying and just wanting to run away from that, because that's what, after that, I really didn't want anything to do about being Japanese, because it wasn't a good, seen as an asset, and just faced a lot of racial prejudice and teasing and bullying. But now I've come, that is what I brings my strength and joy, is my Japanese heritage and all the principles of Japan.
I love that. There you go, Mark. There's your answer. The power's in the vulnerability, friend. Sorry. Good luck to you. Anyone else? Anyone else? I think that's it. Well, guys, it was a true pleasure meeting everybody today that was new. Of course, my favorite people are here, right, from this community. So I'm so grateful, everyone who came today. This is amazing. I hope I benefited your life and added increase in some kind of a way, right? This is what this is all about. It's not about going alone. It's not about trying to figure this out by ourselves. It's about coming together as a community, as a collective, to support each other and uplift each other. Mark,
I
what
was
do
just
you?
clapping. I was just clapping.
Oh, you're clapping?
I had to react because the little clapping thing. Like,
Oh, I all I saw was a hand go up. I didn't see it was clapping.
no, thank you for everything.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I will post your story,
This
your
is how my team and I.
I will post your story on YouTube today, Mark. I've got it all finalized for you, so that'll go up.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everyone. I will follow up with everyone who came today for the first time, and I will see you next week if you want to come. So we meet every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thank you.